Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and we've made it through the first week of the Eldritch Moon preview season. If you think there's nothing awesome left to see, you are so incredibly wrong. In today's video, we're going to talk about some sick delirium enablers, a mechanical werewolf, more tentacle shenanigans, and more. Hope you enjoy our preview series, and if you do, remember to hit that like button, helps out a lot. Distended Mindbender is 8 mana for a 5/5 Eldrazi insect with a merge costing 5 of anything and 2 black. When you cast it, target opponent reveals their hand. You choose from it a non-land card with converted mana cost 3 or less, and a card with converted mana cost 4 or greater. That player discards those cards. Anyone else ridiculously afraid of this card? Emerge makes this fantastic. Look at it this way. Let's say you play Matter Reshaper on turn 3. Turn 4 comes around, you sacrifice the Reshaper, pay 4 mana for this due to a merge, force them to discard 2, and you get the Reshaper trigger. Am I the only one who thinks this is busted in some kind of Eldrazi deck? It's like a super Thought-Knot Seer, but no downside on death. 8 is expensive, yeah, but Emerge. I'm loving this card. Wow. Lupine Prototype is 2 mana for a 5/5 artifact creature wolf construct. It can't attack or block unless a player has no cards in hand. Ludovic is legit psychotic. What? It's a werewolf he put in a mech suit? What is going on in this set? I mean, don't get me wrong, Gisa and Geralf are crazy. They really are, but I mean, this is a mech werewolf. Now, there's only one card I have to talk about, one with nothing. This card is terrible. Absolutely awful, but thanks to Mecha Teen Wolf over here, players can go turn 1 Soul Ring into the prototype, turn 2 1 with nothing, attack, super, great, totally breaking vintage, not really. Modern though, affinity. Interesting conversation. Now, the deck does run Galvanic Blast, so having an empty hand isn't always going to happen, but it's still a 5/5 for 2 mana, and Affinity dumps its hand by turn 3 to 4 almost always. Just saying, it's funny. Peace of Mind is coming back for the first time in a long time with new amazing artwork. I generally don't mention reprints all too often, but Peace of Mind is pretty cool considering Madness is a thing. Granted, it'll mostly be a draft card. I assume it does make Fiery Temper act a lot like Lightning Helix. That's pretty cool, right? Past that, really nice piece of artwork. Definitely unlike most of the art in the set, very whimsical almost. Collective Brutality is 2 mana for a sorcery, choose 1 or more. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an instant or a sorcery card from it, they discard it. Or target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn, or target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. It also has Escalate. Discarding a card allows you to choose an additional mode after the first. Okay, this is the first real Escalate powerhouse we've seen, and I am not disappointed. This could easily see eternal play. As pointed out by some already, Reanimator strategies would eat this up. Attack their disruption or removal, discard your giant creature, kill their Delver of Secrets or Deathrite Shaman or whatever else is annoying you. Amazing versatility for older formats. Even in Standard, this is great for Madness. Vampires get another Madness enabler. I'm not sure it's as powerful in Standard as older formats, but hey, we'll see, won't we? Gonna be a lot of brewing with this. Murder is back. It's not work if you enjoy it. True story, Murder. It's a true story. It's represent. Whispers of Emrakul is 2 mana for a sorcery. Target opponent discards a card at random. If there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, that player discards 2 cards at random instead. Oh yes, thank you. This is the kind of delirium action the mechanic needed. I don't know how long all of you have been playing, but if you were around for random discarding, you know how much of a nightmare Hymn to Turok was. The card is annoying as all heck. Bringing randomness into Magic isn't something Wizards does lightly. Whisper of Emrakul is the nerfed, easier to cast Hymn to Turok. Never underestimate random hand attack. This is a huge delirium payoff card. Wow. Stromkirk Mystic is 3 mana for a 3/2 vampire horror with Trample and Madness costing 2 mana. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may cast that card. This is a weird vampire card. I like that Trample is tacked on so dealing damage to a player is easier, but here's my issue. The vampire deck has enough good vampires. It does. What we were missing wasn't vampires, it was Madness enablers and more reliable burn. The Mystic doesn't do either of those. Don't get me wrong, I actually think the card is sweet, but we've seen this ability in the past and it hasn't made a huge impact on Constructed very often. I don't know, it's an interesting card, but I feel like there are so many more interesting vampires to put in this slot. Emrakuls Evangel is 3 mana for a 3/2 human horror. You can tap it, sacrifice it, and any number of other non-Eldrazi creatures to put a 3/2 Eldrazi horror token onto the battlefield for each creature sacrificed this way. Before you get all riled up, this is not for green-white tokens. Don't say something like, wow, tokens gets more stuff. Stop it. The deck doesn't need this card. Where does this fit? Aristocrats. Something with Zulaport Cutthroat and a bunch of creatures that die a lot. That's where this belongs in Standard. In Commander, however, good game. Another crazy sacrifice engine. Sekuar players will have a lot of fun here. Marin, once again, gets another stupid card. That deck's ridiculous now. Grapple with the Past is 2 mana for an instant. Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a creature or a land card from your graveyard to your hand. Another amazing Delirium card. Yes, good, this is awesome. It's doing a wonderful impression of Grizzly Salvage. It'll get you at least halfway to Delirium, probably more, and you get to bring back a creature or land you need. Grapple with the Past, certainly Standard playable, no doubt about that. I will say though, I am not okay with this card being the sequel to Make-A-Wish. All that girl wanted was to make a wish. That's all. And you do this, Wizards? Really? That's uncool. It's just so uncool. Another quick reprint note. Prey Upon is coming back, this time with updated artwork. As in, it's a werewolf versus an Eldrazi rather than a human versus a werewolf. That's just funny. Beyond that, Prey Upon is a great removal spell, and you can bet we'll talk about it again during our draft guide. Just wanted to show you that artwork. It's great stuff. Eldritch Captive is 2 mana for a 1/2 werewolf horror with Defender. You can tap it to add 1 green to your mana pool. You can also pay 7 mana and transform it into Ulvenwald Abomination, a 4/6 Eldrazi werewolf that you can tap to add 2 colorless to your mana pool. This werewolf is particularly peculiar for a few reasons. First, Defender on a werewolf. That's weird. I know it's because the vines are keeping it back. I get that. It's still weird. Second, you transform it for 7 mana, and it becomes something that just adds more mana. I know it's a 4/6 now, but still kinda weird. Granted, it's a common with a late game relevancy, so it'll see play in Limited, and it is a mana dork, so I guess it could be worse. Tamiyo Field Researcher is one of anything 1 green, 1 white, and 1 blue for a 4 loyalty planeswalker. You can +1 and choose up to 2 target creatures. Until your next turn, whenever either of those creatures deals combat damage, you draw a card. You can also -2. Tap up to 2 target non-land permanents. They don't untap during their controller's next untap step. Lastly, you can -7. Draw 3 cards, you get an emblem with, you may cast non-land cards from your hand without paying their mana costs. What? We need to take this one step at a time. Tamiyo is stupid, like crazy stupid. Her first ability is Insanity. You can use it on your own creatures, attack and draw 2 cards straight away, easy as that. You can also target your opponent's creatures, so even if they attack and kill Tamiyo, you get to draw cards to replace her. It's a whole new spin on planeswalkers needing to protect themselves the turn they come down. Amazing, so good. The second ability is akin to a classic Tamiyo brought to the table, locking the board down. Turns off most any creature you don't like, will prevent attackers for days, it's very good. That last ability, don't even get me started. Reword it to this, -7 Ancestral Recall Omniscience. Her last ability is beyond powerful. It's outrageous. Granted, it won't be that easy to activate. If you do, game is obviously over. It's obviously. I'm not done yet. She's only 4 mana. That's so cheap. Sure, she costs 3 different colors, but we live in a world with bad company already. This is perfect to bad company. Cast your crazy annoying creatures, get Tamiyo on the battlefield. You'll always have creatures to target with her +1. Starting at 4 loyalty is also fair, goes up to 5 immediately. Perfectly reasonable. Tamiyo is made to be playable in Standard. I truly believe that. She is incredibly strong. Never underestimate card draw like that. Wow. And with that, we conclude the first week of Eldritch Moon preview season. Based on everything we've seen so far, what do you think about the set? Are you excited? Better than you thought it would be? Worse? Gotta know. Also, which cards are your favorites so far? I'm curious to hear which cards you think are the most powerful or you're the most excited to brew with. Please leave comments below and let me know. As always, subscribe for the latest and most reliable Eldritch Moon spoiler information you could ever need. This is the Mana Source. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. I won't lie, I'm getting really excited about Eldrazi and Standard again, especially with a merge being a thing. I don't think you can afford to ignore the possibility of an Eldrazi deck coming back. With that in mind, Matter Reshaper, cards $2. It's $2. Combos amazingly well with the new Eldrazi Insect, and it's just powerful in its own right. You can bet it'll make waves if Eldrazi come back swinging. Gear copies while they're basically pennies. Want to get on the Delirium hype train instead? Good. You should want to do that. We have Delirium payoffs now. Mindwrack Demon hasn't done much at all since it's been released, but with Delirium becoming a thing, this 4-mana, 4/5 flying trampler could really make its move. What's the harm in picking up a few just in case? Cards $2. Go nuts, have fun, click some links, help the channel, everyone wins.
Wow.